Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, one of the last few episodes that I did, I think it was this last one, I think it was the episode before this one, that I talked on how people will allow comments to upset them. They will allow things to get to them if you don't know something, right? And it's funny how I posted that episode today, and literally hours later, I have somebody getting mad at me over a comment that I made about an artist that I don't really listen to, and they're trying to school me on this artist. Now, the artist that they're trying to school me on, that's the funny thing about it, okay? That's the real funny thing about it, because this artist is more known for maybe to the last generation of, well, maybe not the last, maybe 2-3 generations ago, that era of music, early 2000s, around that time, yes, if the thing is this, if it would have been in that point in time frame, the early 2000s, where you're trying to school me on this artist, it would have made sense, right? It would have made sense. They're trying to school me on an artist. Well, I should say former artists, because they don't really be making music like that now. But they're trying to school me on an artist that is more so known for their podcast. They are somewhat known for their music. There's 2 movies, I have to say, 2 big movies on top of that, where one song was involved in. Now, they might have did other movies, or their music was, other music was involved in other movies, but their best-selling song, okay? Their best-selling song was in Too Fast, Too Furious, and the end of You Got Served. Now, the end of You Got Served, I was I've seen Too Fast, Too Furious. It was years ago when the last time I actually sat down and watched it. Now, it's just kind of see little clips and stuff of it. And I remember, I think I was looking up this song from this particular artist. I want to save the artist, for the surprise. But some of you guys, you might know who I'm talking about. But anyways, I remember I had saved the song because it's a really good song. It's one of those songs, I guess you can say, yes, that song is going to pump you up. It's going to uplift that motivation within you and stuff. It's one of those types of songs, right? So anyways, I remember I had saved that song, and it was under the Too Fast, Too Furious official soundtrack. And I'm all fam, that song was in the movie? Now I gotta sit down and watch the scene and I was oh, okay, here, yeah, I guess back then I wasn't really paying attention to it, but now I'm yeah, okay, I just more so had knew of the song from You Got Served. But so anyways, for those that don't know who I'm talking about, alright, I'm talking about Joe Budden. Not Joe Biden, not the president of the United States. He did not make rap music. It would be crazy if a rap song of his did come out. I'm saying, in today's technology, we got AI. I'm saying if somebody probably done did some AI Joe Biden rap, alright? But no, I'm talking on the artist Joe Budden. For those that don't know who Joe Budden is, remember a dude yelling at the rapper Lil Yachty some years ago for being happy? That guy. The guy where he was, so Complex, news, I don't know what to really call them, but they're it's a company. There's this company called Complex. They used to have this podcast called Everyday Struggle. It was Joe Budden, DJ Academics, and I can't think of the girl's name, but I think the last time I remember talking about that podcast, I remember the girl's name was difficult to pronounce, so I know she got a difficult to pronounce name, but I just can't think of it. I wish her the best, because she seemed like the only logical one on that show. So anyways, but Joe Budden was on that podcast, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a history lesson of the man's origins of his anger issues, because that's what Joe Budden is more so known for. This man is known for his anger issues, alright? Yeah, he's been known for other things, and like I say, at one point in time, he was known for his music, but it seemed like that what's making this man money is how he's carrying on in this day and age. And I'm going to get to overall, why I'm even talking about him right now in today's episode. So anyways, but some years ago, on the podcast Everyday Struggle, Lil Yachty was invited onto that podcast. Now, at some point in time, Joe Budden, I believe, was questioning him about like his contracts and his placement in the music industry and stuff. And Lil Yachty was like, "Hey, I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be making music. Blah blah blah." He gave out a logical answer. He gave out a normal answer that I think most people, if they were asked that question, they will answer it the same exact way, unless they know something that most people don't know. But I feel that they will answer that question the same exact way that Lil Yachty answered that question. So anyways, Joe Budden starts getting upset. I mean, he starts going off. He is yelling to the top of his lungs. Everybody is confused. Lil Yachty is even confused. He at one point in time had to tell Joe Budden, "Bro, chill." Like, you doing all this extra yelling stuff, and it's like, fam, for what? I'm saying, like, you should not be that mad about another person. Like, I get if you're trying to pass off advice, but it's like, fam, there is a way of doing that. You know, if you're concerned over somebody, it's like, okay, bring them to the side, go at them in a professional way, go at them where it's like you're trying to be cool with them. But if you're not trying to be cool with them, then it's like, fam, you know, it's one of those things where I'm like, hey, if you're a frequent listener of this podcast, or if I can just pass off some advice to you right now, it's like, watch your back in the music industry, because there's going to be people that's going to take advantage of you. Trust me, one day you're going to be sitting down realizing that stuff, and then at some point in time, these words, when I'm saying to you, you'll understand it. But I'm not going to be, you know, trying to be all on your back about it and things. I just want to warn you, the music industry, it is shady. That's something that a lot of people know, you know, and I guess, like, yeah, getting like freshly into the music industry, you might not know that because everybody is seeing the art, but you're not seeing the work that goes behind the art, you know? So I understood what Joe Budden was saying, but it was just how he went about it. It's like, fam, you shouldn't be going about something like that because somebody's just going to look at you like you're crazy. It's like, fam, we went from having a normal conversation. I guarantee and I promise you, Joe Budden wasn't yelling like that when they called up Lil Yachty to be on the show. I'm pretty sure they probably sat down and went over some stuff prior before the show even started. Joe Budden wasn't yelling. At the start of that show, Joe Budden wasn't yelling. It got to at a point in time in that episode where he just randomly started going off. So how do you think most people are going to look at something like that? Like, let's say if I just randomly start going off in this podcast episode because I'm so upset about something, people are going to be listening to this episode like, hey, yo, TMossBoss is crazy. Like, what is he mad about? Who made him that upset? Like, what is going on right now? So, yeah, people are going to look at me a little differently if I just randomly start going off. Wasn't no different than what I guarantee and I promise you, if you switch the roles, you know, reversing and stuff, and Lil Yachty is yelling at Joe Budden gonna be looking at him like, fam, what did I do to you? Like, what do you got going on? It's like, fam, you need to relax and calm yourself down, because it is not that serious. It is serious what you're talking about, and when I cross that bridge, I'll cross it. But for now, I'm gonna have to ask you to relax and calm yourself down. So, but anyways, so yeah. At that point, Joe Budden went viral. Everybody was sharing that video. People were so confused because it was like, if you watch that episode, it's like it was such a normal episode, and then just out of like Joe Budden, I feel like after that, it was either before or after it seemed like a bunch. Well, no, it was more so after, but it was like I just don't know when exactly these episodes took place, but it was like there's so many different clips of Joe Budden going off and stuff. So at that point in time, yeah, Joe Budden, bro, went viral for going off like that, yelling at Lil Yachty, which led into a beef between him and Migos. I personally think, yes, the reason why Migos and Joe Budden almost got into a fight at the BET Award shows was over that Lil Yachty situation, because Migos is dope. They cool with Lil Yachty. I believe they're all signed to the same label, I believe. I don't know if Migos discovered Lil Yachty or he was, I don't know how that went about, but I just know that Migos is cool with Lil Yachty. So, at one point in time, to explain that whole situation, so it's the BET Awards. Everybody's, you know, they're accepting their awards, doing their things, but they usually would do this like this pre-show where they kind of just be interviewing people, seeing what they got going on, seeing if they thinking they gonna be winning any awards tonight. So the host members of Everyday Struggle, DJ Academics, The Woman, and Joe Budden, I almost said Joe Biden. But anyways, they're interviewing Migos. Now, DJ Academics, he's showing love to Migos. He's a fan of Migos. And now, I don't know if he talks behind their back, like he be insulting them and things, and that's why Joe Budden was carrying on the way that he was carrying on in that episode. Or not episode, but pre-show. Excuse me. But anyways, Joe Budden, he has an attitude. You can tell that he has an attitude. It's something where, and it's funny because as I'm doing this podcast episode, the person that I will be talking about at some point in time just responded to a comment that I made. And I most likely will read out that comment and stuff in the whole, comment sections of just me and this person going back and forth. And I'm trying to tell them, stop allowing comments to get to you. But this person wants to continue going on, so I'm going to continue having fun with the situation. So anyways, but getting back to this whole situation with Joe Budden and Migos. So Joe Budden has an attitude. Migos, I think, they overall took notice of that stuff. They were kind of, being a little distant and things. They wasn't really, I guess, like, responsive with the questions and just talking with them guys and stuff. So at some point in time, Joe Budden loses his patience. He's telling DJ Academics to wrap up the interview. DJ Academics, and so this is all that DJ Academics say. He's like, hey, you guys are my favorite band. I listen to your music a lot. We gotta cut the show short. Joe Budden gets up, bumps into, I think Takeoff was sitting on the far right. Like, if I'm going based off of, like, the camera view, Takeoff was sitting on the far right, Quavo was sitting in the middle, and Offset was sitting right next to Joe Budden. So, yeah, when Joe Budden got up, he bumped into Offset's leg. Offset, I believe, stood up, and then Quavo and Takeoff, they stood up. So they were kind of having a standoff with Joe Budden. I think a lot of people know it's like, okay, yeah, Joe Budden, he's a 40-something-year-old man, and you're going up against three guys that's like, I think at the time being, you're like, yeah, they were, I think, Takeoff, I think he might have been in his early 20s. Quavo and Offset, they around the same age, so it's like, what, close to their 30s? I don't know. I'm not good with the age stuff and things. But so anyways, they're a lot younger, okay? And they got more numbers. So I think at the end of the day, if it came down between a fight between three men talking on Migos and one man talking on Joe Budden, that's a fight that Joe Budden's not going to win. I'm just saying, and on top of that, then you gotta fight the security of the Migos. That's a fight that you're not gonna win. I'm sorry. That's something where I'm like, I will tell Joe Budden that to his face. It's like, fam, you have to understand you was not going to win that fight, okay? You weren't. Alright, it's one of those things where it's like, I would expect somebody to say that to me if I'm thinking because yeah, if I'm mad, if I really don't care about some people, of course I'm gonna be all like, oh yeah, I could take on Migos, two of them or one of them or all three of them and stuff. Of course, if I'm mad at them, but I'm like, but the thing is this, if I'm thinking logical, if I'm thinking along the lines of stuff making sense, I know I'm not gonna win no fight with Migos, because on top of fighting Migos, I gotta fight security, and most likely some fans are gonna see it, then I'm gonna have to be fighting them. I'm saying that's a fight where you gotta think of the long-term effects of that fight, all right? Because you're gonna be having a fight. You're gonna honestly be on some Oprah stuff from The Color Purple. You're gonna be on some I had to fight my whole life type stuff. You ain't trying to go down that road. So, anyways, from that point on, everybody was paying attention to Joe Budden, all right? Everybody. I think that was one of the main reasons on why people were watching the podcast Everyday Struggle, was because of Joe Budden, because they knew he was going to say some stuff or do some stuff on that show. So at some point in time, Joe Budden realized his potential. He must have asked for a contract raise at Complex. Complex was like, no, we ain't going to do that because we don't trust the longevity of how this momentum is going to keep up. So I don't know. At some point in time, he left Complex, started up his own podcast, and yeah, from that day forward, he's just always been on his own, all right? Now, I can say that I am happy for Joe Budden. I'm happy for his podcast. I'm happy for everything that he has going on, but it still doesn't take away the fact that this man got anger issues. So, fast forward some years later with his podcast, he has two guys on there. I think Corey and Maul. I think those are, that's their names. I believe that's what their names are and stuff. Because I think I want to actually say, I don't want to open up my phone because I want to save this notification and things. So, but I think their names is Corey and Maul. But he overall had two guys on his podcast where they were kind of like, they were cast members, but the podcast was still called, whatchamacallit, Corey Maul. podcast. Hold on for a second. I'm still trying Joe Budden. Nope. Maul. Well, there's Rory and Maul. Okay, I was, bro, 100%. Rory, I am sorry for calling you Corey. All right, I would like to apologize. And what's crazy is like I know I'm following Rory on it's like social media and stuff. So that's why I'm like I feel like if there's ever a time where my podcast gets big and then he hears this and he's gonna like, bro, you was calling me Corey for like a good couple of minutes. I'm like, fam, I'm sorry. I'm like, please don't Joe Budden me, okay? Don't yell at me. I'm not good with names. All right, that's something where I'm gonna just say that right now. I'm not good with names, bro. Okay, it's like I'm saying. I probably when I was younger, it took me a while to remember my own name. So I'm saying it's one of those things where I'm like, nah, bro. Don't get mad at me for something that everybody knows. I'm not good with names, bro. Okay, but so anyways, what point? All right, so no, that's what I was overall. So Rory and Mo, they're both on Joe Budden's podcast. And they were kind of like his cast members and stuff, but the podcast was named after Joe Budden, which is weird. You would think like it had been like Joe, Rory, and Maul or something. They just something, we're involved them too. But I guess like it ain't no different than it being like Martin or the Jamie Foxx show or shows like that and things where it's like it's named after somebody. They got other cast members and stuff. So, but anyways, so. They're on the show. At some point in time, they realized how toxic Joe Budden was. So, beef started happening between them, I more so believe, and then they ended up leaving the show. Now, since then, Joe Budden it's been him. I think he does have some other guys there on the show, but it still doesn't take away the fact that this man has anger issues. I'm saying if two cast members, okay, that was on your podcast just abruptly left, why do you think they abruptly left? That's something where it's like, if it's about the money, then you wasn't paying them right. But if it's you and your attitude, then it's like, fam, that's something where I feel like that it's so sad because it's like you see it all the time. But it's like when a person gets old and then they start, realizing that it's like, hey, I'm up there in age, like, I really don't want to speak that stuff in existence on this podcast, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, that person starts thinking they're up there in age, then seeing all these people come and go, and then they thinking like, oh man, it's like I'm around that age, and so then that's when they want to start apologizing and making amends and doing all this extra stuff, and it's like it shouldn't have to be all the way until then. Yeah, you don't have to be cool with people. Yeah, you don't have to be all buddy with people and stuff. But I'm just saying, it's like I'm at a point in time in my life where I'm like, people that I call friends, I don't want them to get the impression that it's like I don't need them around or I'm not cool with them or whatever. Like, I get if we grow apart and we got our own separate lives, like we have kids, we get married, we, whatever the situation is, like whatever the, what's going on and stuff. It's like, I feel like it should be a thing where it's like, we grow apart, but if we see each other, we ain't gonna forget each other. I'm like, I don't want things to leave, for us to leave this world on bad terms, especially if I once called these guys my friends. But it's like, I guess if Joe Budden never called them his friends, then yeah, it's something where it's like, I guess, yeah, then, the chapter is done, book is done. It's, you move on to another book and things. So, but anyways, but so yeah, that is like, Joe Budden, Rory, and Maul, those guys, like, yeah, it's just some stuff went down, and I personally think they left because they was like, we can't deal with that no more. It's like you can only take so much from a person before you get to a point where you're all like, you know what, I'm done, can't really be dealing with this no more, I'm moving on. All right, so now let's talk on today's events, okay? So, it was All Def Music, their Instagram account, so from the company All Def. But anyways, All Def Music, they but they made a post about a comment that Joe Budden made. Now, Joe Budden made a comment. Let me actually open up this post again to actually read out what he said. So, there was a video, but I'm not gonna play out the video and things. But so, anyways, Joe Budden says the wave of planting girl artists is over, which he's overall saying like female artists is like women that make rap music. It's done. It's over with. Like we got to move on to something else. My thing is this. I just recently reacted to Glorilla's new song, Yeah Glow, and this song is blowing up on TikTok. People are making memes of this song. You got Nicki Minaj, where she just came out with an album that's doing numbers. You got Ice Spice, the song where she's all like, you think you the explicit word, you're not even the fart. I didn't even know that was Ice Spice until I started doing some research and seeing that was Ice Spice, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, time out. When did I was like, fam, and it was like, I just guess I'm just like overall not paying attention to, people's voices and stuff, because I really don't be listening to Ice Spice's music like that. But I was thinking to myself, like, fam, this girl got a lot of songs blowing up. I'm saying, like, I'm trying to think of some. Cardi B came out with a new song. There's a lot of artists, women artists, where it's like, and it's like, bro, you shouldn't, this was just posted 2 hours ago. My thing is this, isn't it supposed to be like Women's History Month or something like that? You're saying this during the month of women? Bro, come on now. You gotta, I'm telling you, he be doing some strategic things. Because he could have talked about this last month. He could have talked about this the month before. He could have talked about this at any given point in time. The reason why I personally believe that he did this just to get some attention and stuff is because I also, for those that don't know what you're listening to right now, this is called the TMossBoss Show. This is a podcast. Just to overall explain to you guys the idea of coming up with a podcast episode is that you do some research. You look around. You find things to talk about. So you might see that special occasion is going on. Like, let's say it's National Buy a Light Day or something. So if I feel that I have enough material to talk on this national holiday, then I am going to talk on it. I am going to do a podcast episode about it. I imagine that Joe Budden, either he randomly thought of it, I don't know, maybe I should listen to the podcast to see, the context behind it, but overall, the message was clear. He said, pretty much, female rap music is over. And my thing is this, it's like, how do you know that though? Like, how do you know that female rap music is over with? How do you know, like, that's what the situation is? And so, anyways, I made a joke in the comment sections. I wasn't really looking for no arguments, but people want to turn it into arguments, and that's the thing where it's all like, fam, you gotta, like, not let stuff get to you, So anyways, I made a comment saying that Glorilla alone got more hits than Budden. Bro mad because nobody is trying to use Pump It Up as a sample. That's all that I said. I left it at that. I cracked a joke. People liked it. People are laughing about it. It's actually the most liked comment in the comment section. They got 85 likes right now, and I think people are still actively liking it. So, anyways, the guy... Hold on for a second. So, anyways, the guy goes on... Alright, so I made that comment. The guy goes on and says... And that's why I'm thinking, I'm like, fam... It's something where I'm like, bro, you really gotta look at what I said in order to understand it, in order to get an understanding out of it. So he responds back saying, Pump It Up is the sample, do your homework, bro. I responded back saying, I'm not going to do homework on Joe Budden's music. No. No. And then somebody else, they commented talking about, oh, I didn't watch the video. And I'm like, okay, what is going to be different from what was said on unless All Def Music took what he said too, and then that's why people, because I'm thinking to myself like, okay, people ain't gonna be liking my comment and then putting laughing emojis in the comment, and then just like, because if that was the case, then everybody would be saying what these guys are saying. But it's like, there's people that actually found the comment funny. So then I said that. People like that comment too. Then another guy, he goes on and puts 2 clown emojis. I responded back to that guy saying, is that supposed to be you and Joe? Then the same guy, the initial guy, the guy that left the first comment, he goes on to say, his music isn't the homework. His music isn't the homework done, bro. Where he did his homework is where you would look. Again, not doing no homework on Joe Budden, regardless of where he's at, what he's doing, and what he got going on. I'm not doing no homework on Joe Budden. It's not necessary. It's not needed. That's not even what homework. My thing is this. I would if I was in a classroom, right, and that teacher slapped down a piece of paper, and the top of that paper it said Joe Budden, and I'm supposed to make sure I get every answer correct. I'm only going to any questions that has anything to do with the song Pump It Up. I'm going to get those questions right with flying colors. They're like, which movie they involved Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson involved his song Pump It Up? Oh, that's easy. Too Fast, Too Furious. Okay, another one. Also, this the same song was involved in a breakdancing movie. Bruh. Oh, this question, this test is gonna be easy. These were the first two questions. You got served. Now they're gonna start going in uncharted territories. They were like, what was Joe Budden's first album name? I'm gonna start crying because I'm like, I'm gonna fail this test and I'm gonna get held back in music school. I'm not trying to get held back in music school. I'm like, Pump It Up, wrong. Okay, what was his second album? Pump It Up to wrong. Okay, dang, bruh. I don't know. I'm saying it's like, how many albums did he come out with altogether? Okay, well, you said you asked the first and second, so I'm on 2 albums, wrong. I'm like, bro, what is, like, who did he yell at on Everyday Podcast? Okay, Lil Yachty. Ding, 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 you got that wrong. Who did he almost fight because of Lil Yachty? Oh, Migos. Ding, 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 you got that right. What did Joe Budden do after all of that? I don't know. He went back to his podcast, wrong. He came out with a diss track on Migos. I remember that. Dang, I wish I would have remembered that then when I was taking, trying to write down that answer. I'm saying, it's like, bro, who goes around doing homework on Joe Budden? That's what I would like to know. Who goes around doing homework on Joe Budden? That's stuff that you shouldn't say out loud. You shouldn't say out loud, oh, I'm doing homework on Joe Budden. People gonna look at you like, I know this man wears black Air Force Ones and he brushes his teeth without toothpaste. This man is a savage. He cannot be trusted, okay? So then he goes, so then that's when I responded back saying, regardless, bro, in quotations, it's still about Budden. I ain't doing all of that. Don't let comments bother you on the internet. I left it at that. Then he goes on to say, I just live and breathe this explicit word, bro. A student of the game for real. Misinformed comments like yours are what's keeping us stupid. Nah, mean. Facts over feelings. You allowed your feelings to get the best of you and you responded to my question or to my comment. What are you even talking about at this point? It's stuff like that where it's like, if you allow yourself to get that mad over a comment, you shouldn't be on social media, bruh. So then I responded back saying, and comments like yours is going to keep you on the same boat as Budden. Known for talking and not actually rapping. Learn how to not let comments get to you. Hold on for a second, I ain't messed up. So then I said that, then he goes on to say, and then I looked at your profile, I wish you the best. And it's like, fam, you actually took the time to look at my profile. I still have yet to see what you got going on, because I'm not going to waste my time on those stuff like that. Then I go on to say, LMAO, and what's crazy, I've done more work than both you and Budden combined. I don't spend my time worried about what others are saying, and I know that that's a fact. I really don't know how much music Joe Budden done came out with, but I know that he got a lot of views on one song. He probably got a lot of views on other songs and stuff, but anyways, I'm like, bro, but at the same time, I don't spend my time sitting around talking about other people. I spend my time working. If at times my work involves talking about some stuff, I'm not going to be talking about them in bad taste. I'm not going to be out there making bad comments about them. I'm going to be minding my own business. That's something that this man and Joe Budden both can't say, because they allow their emotions to get the best of them. So, anyways, so then he goes on to say, wait, I'm just making sure. Then he was like, I now understand why old people die. What does that even mean? It's like, bro, I'm telling you, people like that, they just don't make no sense. They really don't make no sense. I'm like, you got your whole life ahead of you. You could be doing anything right now. It is Sunday night and you're arguing about Joe Budden's music. Do you realize how sad that is? Then another person said, you must not have watched the clip and listen to what he said. I don't need to. I know Joe Budden is this. I know Joe Budden. I know what that man talks about before I even watched the video. And All Deaf Music posted what he said. What is there to watch in the video? It's stuff like that. But no, the funny thing is, people are liking my comment, so that's why I'm like, I ain't even going to be focused on these guys. I feel like I should say something to the one dude. He was like, I now understand why. You know what? No, I ain't even gonna respond to that because I'm like, that just don't even make any sense. What does that even mean? I now understand why old people die. Like what are they supposed to become, fairies or something? I'm saying like, oh, they just become a fairy godparent or a fairy odd parent, a fairy godparent. I don't know why that show, I think they named it Fairly Odd Parents, but they were called fairy godparents. Anyways, regardless, all right, I ain't got time for this. I should be streaming right now. I should be freaking, focused on myself. Yeah, it's stuff like that where I'm like, look, people are going to be liking my comment, cracking jokes, laughing, all that stuff. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to do no homework on no Joe Budden. Okay, so anyways, with that being said, overall moral of the story, don't allow comments to get to you. Okay, this is pretty much what I said before in the last episode. Don't let comments get to you because people are going to see that and they are going to have fun with the situation. All right, so but I'm like, fun time's over. Recess whistle done been blown. I'm moving on, bruh. I'm gonna do homework on some stuff that I actually care for doing homework for. So, anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're viewing this on YouTube. Follow or subscribe if you're viewing this on podcast streaming service. Thank you guys and peace.